Harbhajan Singh, am I right in saying that New Zealand could be India's biggest challenge as we hope to win 3 titles in the World Cup? Are New Zealand a team we cannot take lightly?
Take any team lightly, to be honest, Rajdeep, at this stage. And New Zealand had a very good record before coming into this World Cup against India. Even though they lost in the previous game they played against India in Dharamshala, which is obviously a big kind of a relief for India. But yes, you can't take them lightly. They play as a unit. They have some quality players. Their bowling looks very strong. And when it comes to batting, they are no less than anyone. And they field so well. And, I believe, they are a very serious side and we can't just take them lightly.
Is there any player, Harbhajan, who we should be looking at closely? Rachin Ravindra has lit up this World Cup with his batting. Is he the kind of player who could light up a semi-final, or is there extra pressure when you play a semi-final? I remember 2011, you played Pakistan in Mohali and there was a huge pressure game. Are semi-finals often the big pressure game?
Well, it is a pressure game. Of course, now we are on a business end of this tournament, and every game, every ball will matter from here. And Rachin, having said that, he's been brilliant for New Zealand. He's a phenomenal talent, a superstar in making for future. And, I sincerely wish him well for few other games, but not this game. I hope Bumrah and Shami will sort him out tomorrow and not let him score runs. But he's been in phenomenal form and he had a very good World Cup. And yes, we should be, looking what he does. That's why what made him successful in this World Cup. And Kane Williamson, he's making a comeback in the team. He's a leader who's been there, done it. And he's someone we can always say that be careful from this man. And Trent Bolt, not to forget, when it comes to bowling, he can swing the ball. With new ball, New Zealand can be a lethal side, so don't take them lightly. They have some quality players. They play as a team, so that's why they always qualify in the semis or the finals.
Suresh bhai, pressure. You played a phenomenal innings against Australia in the quarterfinals of 2011. You and Yuvraj Singh took us to victory. That was a knockout game. Ye knockout game mein pressure kya hota hai? Tomorrow, is it about who handles the pressure better between India and New Zealand?
Absolutely. You need to play your A game. As Bajuba mentioned, I think India looking very strong. You just need to go out there and play the situation. Don't play the... you need to, do well. You just go out there, read the situation, play according to the situation, read the game. If you want to have a partnership, you should build a partnership with top order. If you want to build a partnership, Talender, you need to have that partnership in between overs. I think India's batting order looking very strong, sir. I think especially the gun bowling lineup we ever seen in the World Cup side. And the way Rohit Sharma is leading the team, I think his astute leadership, showing the faith in the boys. They have a lot of unity. They have a lot of love for each other. They're enjoying each other's success at the same time. But Rohit Sharma knows if they want to play well, they have to beat New Zealand, because New Zealand has done well against us in all the ICC trophies. Look at WTC final, look at 2019 final when MS and Jadeja almost got that game for us. But they need to play to the game. They just need to go out there, play 50 overs well with the bat. Then I'm sure our team with the heavy bowling lineup with Siraj, Shami, Bumrah, Jadeja, and Kuldeep, they're going to do the rest. Just go out there, win the toss, put runs on the board, play fearless, then rest will, I'm sure, bowlers will do their job.
You mentioned win the toss. How important, Suresh bhai, is winning the toss? We are at the Wankhede where out of the 4 games, as I said, 3 games have been won by the team batting first. Win the toss and bat. Is that the way to play at the Wankhede, especially in the afternoons when it's hot and humid, bat, and in the evening when the sea breeze starts blowing, you need to bowl. Is that toss going to be very crucial according to you?
Absolutely. The way you showed the stats, sir, I think it showed in this World Cup. Whoever batted first there, they put runs on the board, especially when you're playing the World Cup match 2 o'clock and when you're starting the second inning 5:40, 5:45, you still have the one hour to swing, because now you're playing with the 2 new ball, and especially you're playing the World Cup in November. You have a lot of cold breeze. You have close to the stadium, you have a beach. And definitely Bumrah knows that. He played for MI team. Rohit Sharma won 5 IPL trophies there. Surya Kumar Yadav knows each and every situation. He knows every angle of the ground. Then especially Virat Kohli. He also knows how to score runs against New Zealand because he scored highest run against New Zealand. I think he's the second highest. But I think Bumrah will be the key player for India because he knows how to bowl with the new ball and he knows especially how to bowl with the old ball because he has a good Yorker, he has a good variation around the lefty and righty, and Shami bowls always well when the lefty comes. And New Zealand has a lot of lefty batsmen. As Bajuba said, Rachin Ravindra looks very good, but not to forget Ken Williamson. I think he has got that calmness around the boys, and he only played 3 games, but I think every game he scored almost 184, 185 runs with a good strike rate. I think he has the difference, but India has to do well. They just need to enjoy this 100 overs game tomorrow.
And not take too much of pressure on themselves. I believe pressure is such which can take the things away from any team. The champion teams, they work, they kind of focus on the process rather than thinking of the result. And that's what will be the key, I think, Rajdeep. Keeping the process in mind, result will take care of itself.
Nikhil, you've been talking to some of the players and just taking up from what Harbhajan and Suresh Raina they said, enjoying the process. This team seems to be enjoying each other's company. You're talking to the players. Do you get a sense that the pressure has been lifted in a way because you won 9 games in a row? Or do you believe the pressure is now even greater because this is knockout? You have one bad day and all those 9 games will be forgotten. What's the mood that you're picking up from the Indian team, Nikhil?
Well, Rajdeep, it'd be, untrue if I was to say that there's no pressure. The Indian team knows that. They're playing the same opposition that, they played last time around. And if you look at this World Cup, New Zealand is the only team that ran them close in that game in Dharamshala. And if you were to ask me, I think the semi-final as an Indian fan makes me more nervous than the final. I feel it's the semi-final. If they go past the semis, I'm 100% convinced this Indian team is going to lift the World Cup. It's the semi-final that's the bigger hurdle. And I'll tell you why. Because I don't think Harbhajan remembers, before this tournament started, he told me a very interesting thing, which I had even quoted him. He said, why this Indian team is good? It's good because they can get big runs without taking the big risks. And that is what makes this Indian team very different to the other teams. And I think that's precisely the reason why this New Zealand team is also dangerous. Because this is the only other team that does not need to take risks and still get you big totals. So why I say this is the toughest game that India is going to face, because what are the 2 situations that you can have? Either you'll have a spin-friendly track, either you'll have a track that will be good for batting. On both those situations, New Zealand is the only team that can match you. Let's say you put Australia, South Africa on a spin-friendly track. I think India will get the better of them 9 times out of 10. But this New Zealand team, with a Santner, with a few part-time spinners, with the way they tackle spins, with the likes of Kane Williamson, the way Rachin Ravindra is playing, I think this is the only other team that if you give a dry surface in Wankhede, can compete with you at an even keel. And that's why this semi worries me a bit more than even the final.
Let me turn to Julian Goyer to get a global perspective. Julian, you've been tracking this Indian team. Are you surprised, as much of the world is, just how good this Indian team is? I'm going to come to the aces in the pack in the moment later. But have you been surprised by just the way this Indian team has been almost unstoppable throughout this tournament?
It's an extraordinary achievement in a round-robin event comprising 10 teams to win all 9 games. I don't think anybody expected that before we arrived in India. I mean, clearly they are an excellent, well-balanced team with a lot of star performers. And, and they've also had that bit of luck that all successful teams need. When you think that Mohammed Shami wasn't in the side at the start of the tournament, and then, unfortunately for Hardik Pandya, he gets injured, and then Shami comes in and has been a brilliant success. So I think people are surprised slightly by the fact they've won all 9, but I don't think anybody was in any doubt about just how good a side India are.
Bharat Sundaresan, are you also surprised by just how good this Indian team has been over the last month? Because coming into the tournament, we were seen as joint favourites with England, Australia. We at the moment seem to be firm favourites, as I said at the outset.
overwhelming favorites, Rajdeep. You're right. I don't think it surprised me, like Suresh said and Harbhajan said as well. I think with Rohit Sharma, you have a captain who puts things into perspective. And don't forget, like, yes, it's the IPL, it's not international cricket, but there is something to it that he's won 5 titles as captain. But I think I'm not surprised, but what has really stood out for me is that everyone around the world has been talking about India's fast bowling attack. When Mitchell Stark spoke to us yesterday, and he spoke about how the Indian fast bowlers have set the benchmark in a tournament where a lot of fast bowlers have actually struggled. I mean, Stark himself, or even Pat Cummins for that matter, or some of the other big name fast bowlers around the world, to get the ball swinging, to get the ball seaming around. I mean, India have just been operating at another level. Like Bumrah, Shami, Siraj, and then you have Jadeja and Kuldeep Yadav. And similarly with the batters as well. Yes, I mean, Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma have scored more runs than anyone else. But everybody's found form as the tournament has gone on. And I know a lot of comparisons will be made between this and 2019 just because it's India versus New Zealand. But if you look at that Indian team, yes, they lost one match, but they were smashed by England. The India-New Zealand league game got washed off. But there was so many question marks even getting into that semi-final. We didn't know who was really our number 4. MS Dhoni seemed to be towards the end of his career as well. And it had a very different feel to it. Right now, it just feels like wherever you look, there's a hero just emerging for this Indian team, which is why I think even though everybody's a little concerned about India's record in knockouts in the last 10 years or so, just feel like you look at this team and like you're like, yeah, this is a different Indian team. And it's not just within India, it's around the world. I mean, when I speak to people back in Australia or in England or everywhere else, they're for the first time ever, an Indian white ball team looks intimidating and also looks indomitable, which is why I think a lot of people are confident that they'll go all the way.
I like the word intimidating. It's not a word that you usually associate with Indian cricket, but this Indian team has intimidated the opponents. And I want to raise, therefore, the next question. Has this Indian team covered all bases? And I'm going to give you the 5 aces in the pack, and then I'll get you all to respond to them. Ace number 1, Rohit Sharma at the top, dynamic start, and of course, very calm captaincy. Number 2, you've got Virat Kohli, Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul in the middle order, all in top form. Then you've got Jasprit Bumrah. For me, the man of the tournament so far. He's in a league of its own. Just think about it. He is giving less than 3 runs an over in the first 10 overs when the average is about almost 6 runs an over. So he's half that of the rest of the world at the moment. Then you've got Mohammad Shami and Siraj, both wicket-taking bowlers at the very top. And you've got Ravi Jadeja and Kuldeep Yadav in the crucial middle overs, taking wickets and keeping the runs down. Harbhajan Singh, when I give you all these aces, am I right in saying India has covered all its bases in this World Cup? There are no holes in this Indian team?
100%. I believe they are playing like a unit. They are playing with a lot of they can see how they want to be and where they want to be. By after the 9th game, where would they want to be? And they have topped the table with the reason they batted well from the top. Of course, Shubman Gill didn't fire as much as we expected, but Rohit Sharma, he changed the approach. He started scoring those quick runs for Team India, putting himself aside, playing for the team. He felt that this is more important. And the kind of start he's giving, that is, releasing a lot of pressure from Virat Kohli. He can come, take bit of time and start scoring runs. And same goes with KL Rahul. And then Shreyas coming back after injury and scoring those runs. Obviously, bring a lot of confidence in the dressing room when you have 3-4 guys scoring big. And, when you have 3-4 guys taking those wickets, not Shami, not Bumrah, then Jadeja comes in the party, Kuldeep Yadav comes in the party. So it shows that this unit is covered, not just in batting, but in bowling department as well.
But how good Harbhajan is Bumrah?
Bumrah is unbelievable. He's by far the number.
How good is Jasprit Bumrah? I'm sorry to focus on
one bowler in world cricket. There's no doubt about it. I believe, he's the difference. When we talk about any other seamer and him. He stands out and he says that I am going to deliver. And, Raina predicted in one of the show that he's going to be the man of the match tomorrow. So I believe so because Shami picked 5 wickets. Siraj showed those 3 wickets, 4 wickets fell quickly, and tomorrow could be Bumrah's turn. And yeah, Bumrah is fantastic. You know, Shami is unbelievable, and Siraj is amazing. So I believe, you know, these 3 seamers, they make this team look far superior than any other team. That's why Pat Cummins, Stark, and all the other seamers from the World Cup team, they're talking about Indian bowling lineup, and this is the first time we have seen they have threatened the whole teams. All the teams are worried playing against Bumrah, Siraj, and Shami.
Rajdeep, before you come in, I know that Harbhajan is praising in the 3 fast bowlers. They've been outstanding. But Harbhajan also has a sneaky feeling that Ravichandran Ashwin could be playing tomorrow, depending on the track that may be on offer in Wankhede. I'll let him elaborate on that.
Well, why I'm saying that he might be playing because Devin Conway and Rachin.
Rachin, Ravindra.
So they've got 3 left-handers
they
in
have-
top 6.
Yeah,
No, they have center also down the ground.
Yeah, they have a lot of left-handers. So I believe that if there is any change, if the wicket is dry, you know, you're not, you know, you don't have to think twice. You know, just bring him in and.
But who goes out?
You know, one of the seamer. Of course, you have to take that tough call, but it won't happen. But if the wicket is really dry, Ashwin can come in as a bowler and he's a match winner.
And Bajuba, how about
in
4
himself.
overs from Rohit Sharma?
No, Rohit Sharma
2 overs?
and
Virat
and
Kohli?
R. Ashwin, they are 2 different
because
bowlers, of course. So yeah, so I believe that if the wicket is dry and you
Because
feel
I-
that it's going to spin, then bring him in.
It's going to be. I'm told it's going to be a good wicket. I spoke to someone who says expect a good Wankhede wicket. But Suresh Raina, just for a moment on Jasprit Bumrah, because you played a lot of cricket with him, against him. Mumbai Indians is his home ground in a way. What makes Jasprit Bumrah so special? I mean, I haven't seen a bowler from such a short run-up be able to generate both pace, accuracy and variety. What is it about Jasprit Bumrah? He seems to be a once-in-a-generation bowler. We talk of once-in-a-generation batsman in a Virat or a Sachin. But here you've got a once-in-a-generation fast bowler in Bumrah. What makes him so special, Suresh Bhai?
I think I would say his work ethic, the way he's showed the great character, the way he's been handling the process. And we always talk about Fab 5 in batting. Now we have Fab 5 in bowling also, you can say that. As Bajuba said earlier, I think this is the best bowling lineup we've ever seen in the Indian cricket team. And you talk about Bumrah, he has a great learner of the game. He knows the situation. The best thing about him, everyone talk about is his swing and pace and Yorker. But the best delivery I have seen when he bowled the slow ball at Ahmedabad against Rizwan, the way he bowled him, I think he always surprised everyone. He is the biggest bluff master when it comes to giving you breakthroughs in between the overs. We have seen that in 2020. We have seen that in test matches. That ball is always accurate. That means he is a chess master. He knows where you taking him, where he wants to take the wicket. He's a astute guy and his work ethic is amazing. Bajupa knows more because he played with him MI and he is a gun player, great guy to be around, great human being, but he works really hard. So,
you know, Bajupa, I just heard a great line from Suresh Bhai there. Fab 5. We have a Fab 5 bowling attack. Do you get a sense that that is the biggest change in this World Cup, possibly even compared to your 2011 World Cup winning team? Then you had an all-round team, but this level of 5 fast bowlers, all gun bowlers, makes a huge difference, doesn't it?
Well, obviously, you know, we wish, you know, in 2007 we had this kind of a bowling lineup, and of course, you know, it makes a huge difference when you have a quality of Bumrah, Shami, Siraj, all of them in form. You know, not anyone having any niggle or injury. I'm keeping my finger crossed. You know, everyone picking wickets at right time and putting the pressure on the opponents. It's unbelievable. You know, he talked about the work ethic of not just Bumrah, Shami. You know, people talk about, you know, his fitness, etc., his fielding, but what he does with the ball is unbelievable. You know, the kind of swing he generates of the ball is unbelievable. So this is probably the best unit operating together we have seen. You know, sometimes you have the quality, but you don't operate, in unit wise, that one performed, then the second and the third. Everyone comes in, Bumrah does his job, then Shami comes, he does his job, then Siraj comes, he does his job. And when spinners comes, they are no less than anyone. So yes, Fab 5. And tournaments are won by the bowlers,
Yes.
not by the batters, Rajdeep. I am a firm believer in that. You talk about that 83. Who won the tournament for India? It is a bowler. It is the bowler. That short kind of a total, who defended that? It's our bowler. So, even that 2011, we spoke about great MS Dhoni's 90 and Gautam Gambhir's 90, but not to forget, on that wicket, I think India bowled pretty well, and we restricted them to very reasonable kind of a score at 1 KD, which is a high scoring pitch.
Zaheer Khan's opening spell, outstanding.
Yeah, outstanding. So tournaments are won by the bowlers. Yes, batsmen does their work, which they have to, but bowlers are in supreme form. So I am a huge fan of Shami, Bumrah, rocking.
Okay, well, Harbhajan is going to leave us in a little while, but I think you've spoken like a good champion bowler that you were. Julian, is that something, as Harbhajan, Suresh, Raina and Nikhil are speaking about India's bowling attack, is that really out of these aces that I put in the pack? We expected Rohit in a way to give us the fast starts. The middle order has always delivered for India in recent times, particularly with Virat there, but it's the bowling, which has stunned all of us. Is that how you also see it from a global perspective? India probably has the best bowling attack in this World Cup, and we can't say that in too many World Cups in the past, if ever.
That's very true. It's the balance of the attack. You've got three outstanding fast bowlers, all of whom are subtly different in their respective styles, and all of whom are incredibly effective. I mean, I was here at Wankhede for the Sri Lanka match, and it was just a stunning performance to witness what they did with those two new balls in that match, and it was breathtaking. So yes, clearly the bowling so far has been the major difference, given that the batting was more of a known quantity in that sense in one-day terms.
The batting a known quantity, but Nikhil, Virat Kohli, he seems to be like good wine getting better with age. He just runs harder between the wickets. He seems to be more driven, passionate about winning a second world title. He could become the first Indian to do that along with R. Ashwin. You get a sense that Virat also believes his moment has come. 12 years ago at the Wankhede, he said that he wanted to take Sachin's burden on his shoulders. He's really done that in this World Cup.
Well, he's been outstanding. I mean, it's reached a stage, Rajdeep, we had that lull. We did plenty of discussions when he was going through a bit of a rough patch. Imagine it's just taken us a few months where we've reached a stage. Every time he goes out to bat, if he does not get 100, you're disappointed. So effectively, every time he's going out to bat, you're expecting 100 out of Virat Kohli. That's how good he's been. You spoke about his fitness has been outstanding. The only ground where I saw him go down as his honchos, where he was, puffing and panting, was the Wankhede. The only ground where it was hot, humid, where he found it slightly tough to be running those singles and doubles, and we've seen it in the past, players cramping up. So that's another ground where if you want a player to be fit and not get cramped up, I think Virat Kohli would be your best bet going into this game as well. But there's one other ace, when I was looking at your 5 aces, Rajdeep, the one other ace of this Indian team that's been very underrated in this tournament has been India's fielding. They've been outstanding across, barring the last game where you saw just some glimpses of not great fielding. And now they have this culture, they have got this culture going of celebrating the best fielder after every game, and those visuals go viral after every game. And every game, they've got a different winner, which tells you they have such outstanding fielders all around. I have one sitting next to me in Suresh Raina. But when these guys used to play, I knew I had to look out for a Suresh Raina or maybe a Mohammad Kaif or a Yuvraj Singh. You could just pick 2, 3 of them. Now you've got an outstanding fielding side. Even someone like KL Rahul, who was a makeshift wicketkeeper, has been outstanding behind the stumps. No one's talking about his wicket-keeping because that's how good he's been with the bat. But outstanding fielding effort for India has been one of those contributing factors for why they've done this well in this tournament.
Great point, Nikhil. And I think, Bharat Sundaresan, I think Nikhil makes a great point. We talk about our bowling which has been terrific, our batting which has proven itself yet again, but fielding. Again, when was the last time we could say an Indian side has probably been the best fielding side in the World Cup? New Zealand will give us a run for our money surely in the field, but is that one of the big changes, the sheer athleticism that so many of our team members seem to have, barring a couple of them, each one of them seems to be really ready in the field to take all those critical catches. That's the transformation, isn't it, Bharat, that's taken place in Indian cricket?
Oh, very much so. It almost feels like everybody wants every ball to come to them. And I think that's been a big change as well. It comes from the professionalism around Indian cricket. And I guess also the outfields that a lot of kids playing in this team have grown up on as compared to what Suresh and Harbhajan had when they were coming through the ranks. I think that's changed everything as well. And then you talk about the IPL and all of that. But you're right, in a tournament where a lot of catches have been dropped. I mean, there are some venues like Dharamshala, for example. Everybody dropped catches. Yes, Jadeja dropped one there as well. But India's fielding, like we said, has been in the highlights reel over and over again. I mean, some of the best catches taken in the tournament are Indian. And it's not just in the outfield, right? Rajdeep, even KL Rahul behind the stumps has been sensational. He took that catch diving way to his left early on in the tournament. He's got one
Absolutely.
stumping as well. And his role has been crucial behind the stumps. Sort of like Rahul Dravid in that 2003 World Cup, Harbhajan was there, where, in the lead up, I think 18 months or so into it, Rahul Dravid started keeping wickets for the balance of the side, and it worked out. But I mean, KL Rahul's keeping has just gone to a next level alongside his batting. So there are literally no holes in this Indian side, which is kind of scary when you think about it. And when you talk Indian cricket from a global sense, there's always a little bit of cynicism attached with Indian success, right? Oh, they doctor the pitches. Oh, they make sure they play in certain venues and certain grounds against certain opposition. I think what this bowling attack and the fielding display has done is they've really taken the pitch out of the equation. That's just how good they have been, which is why I don't think anyone around world cricket can point fingers at this Indian team and say anything was in their favor. I mean, they've traveled to 9 different venues compared to every other team. So there's really no cloud over what they've done leading into the semi-final.
Suresh, Raina, we mentioned briefly Rahul Dravid there, and I didn't mention him as an ace, and maybe we should, along with the fielding. Rahul Dravid and his backroom staff seem unusually calm. Rahul Dravid has always been known to exude a certain calmness and an authority, and that is coming into the team. You give us a sense. You played with Rahul. Is he someone you think who's getting the best out of players? That's also what is making a big difference. When you've got a coach who's done it all, it makes a huge difference again, Suresh Bhai.
Absolutely. The way Nikhil Bhai said about KL Rahul wicketkeeping, I think is brushing on the shoulder. I think Rahul Bhai has done it for almost 100 games when he played the World Cup in 2003. And I have seen on BCCI TV the way he's been working hard with KL Rahul is keeping. I saw the tire when he was spinning, and KL Rahul knows how to interact because the local boy and Rahul Bhai brings a lot of discipline. He brings a lot of question and answer, and he is the calmest guy, as you said. So I think he's a great ambassador of the game. That's what I said to earlier. Nikhil Bhai won the World Cup for Team India, won the World Cup for every fans. But not to forget Rahul Dravid. I think we need to win the World Cup for Rahul Dravid also. I think he has done so much hard work for us in past, and I've seen in the way he's been scored a lot of runs here and there, and every time we have a difficulty, he'll stand up, he'll say, I'll do the job for Team India. I think we have done it for Gary Christian 2011. We have done it for every fans. I want Rahul Dravid to also feel the same way because he has done tons of runs for us. He took brilliant catches, and he was a very, very successful captain when he was with the Indian team and one day as well as for the test matches. As you said about the creating the culture, because as Nikhil Bhai said, even Bharat also mentioned, the creativity brings Dilip, the fielding coach. We have seen Jonty Rhodes, we have seen Robin Singh, now we have seen Dilip. I think he brings that man of the match, the medal, that brings, they are not excited about the ICC man of the match. They are excited about that medal. I've seen the Jadeja, whenever he's taking the catch, he was putting that hand, I want to have that medal. I saw the Surya effort yesterday, the day before in Bangalore, because Bharat also mentioned very nice thing, because the grounds looked very tricky. We have seen that in Dharamshala. Every ground looks very, very wet because of the month we are playing the World Cup. But full 100 marks to to Delhi fielding coach as well as Rahul Dravid.
You know, the fielding has been outstanding. Before, you know, we wrap this round table that we are having, I want to look at the slightly glass half empty. It is semi-final stage, 2 games to go, but as I said, one bad day can change a lot of things. Plus, you've got 3 other very good sides, Australia, South Africa and New Zealand. So my final question is simply this: is there any X factor to watch out for, or for Team India to fear? Just look at the strengths of the other semi-finalists and I'll go right round the table. New Zealand, very well knit side, very well led by Kane Williamson, with gun players like young Rachin Ravindran. Then you've got South Africa, which is a dynamic middle order batting unit. You've got Adian Markram, you've got Quinton de Kock, of course, at the top, and then you've got Klaasen, who, remember, scored a great 100 on this very Wankhede ground. Then you've got Australia with its big match players. We've seen Glenn Maxwell do it. We've seen David Warner do it. They are players who rise up to the big occasion. So if you were to fear any one team, which would that be? Julian, you start first. Which is that team do you think India should fear out of the 4? If I had to put you on the line, who's going to win the World Cup? Who do you think is going to win the World Cup? And who's the team that India should fear?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I think Australia potentially could be the team to fear if they obviously get past a very strong South Africa side, because they're full of big match performers. And it's not just the usual suspects. You've got people like Mitchell Marsh coming into real form with the bat. And they're a team of hardened, seasoned professionals. So they're obviously a threat. South Africa are having a great World Cup, but the fear always has been in the past with them that they will have a bad game when it really matters. And this is the fascinating thing with them, in a sense, rather like India's relationship with New Zealand. South Africa's relationship with the World Cup has been pretty tortuous. And in a sense, you know, the fascinating thing in that game in Kolkata, if it goes ahead, if the weather doesn't intervene, will be to see how they cope with that kind of pressure and whether they can actually get over the line and into a 50-over World Cup final. But New Zealand too are a fantastically consistent side. You know, they've reached the last 2 men's World Cup finals. They've beaten India in a World Test Championship final. Mm-hmm. And someone like Mitchell Santner is very quietly having a brilliant World Cup. So he could be a huge threat on a pitch such as the one we're likely to get here at the Wankhede.
Bharat, any team that you fear, or do you believe India is at a stage where we intimidate all opponents?
We do, but in a knockout stage, it's always Australia, right, Rajdeep? They just have that aura about them. Even though this Australian team is very different to the Australian teams that Suresh Raina's Indian team beat and Harbhajan Singh played against the final in 2003. They're considered woke, they're considered too genteel back home in Australia. But there's a reason why they won 5 world titles. They just know how to, they are better at tournament play than any other team. That's why they have so many titles to show for it. And throughout this tournament, they've been scratchy. They've never been able to put their best team out there on the field. Injuries and people falling off golf carts and all sorts of other drama. But still, they've just found a way to just get over the line. And Glenn Maxwell played like arguably one of the best innings you'll ever see, like a miraculous innings the other day when it looked like they were going to lose. But it feels like things are coming together for Australia. I think they'll finally have 15 fit men to choose from for the semi-final against South Africa. And whenever I speak to anyone in India, they're like, "Yaar, Australia ko semi-final mat aane do, yaar. Baki sab theek hai." Because that's just the aura that they've built over years and years and years. And everybody, I think, at this point expects an India-Australia final, and that's why I think Australia is the only team not to fear, but India will be wary of.
Nikhil, who's your tip? Putting you on the line, who's your tip? What's the final going to be?
I cannot look beyond this Indian team. That's how dominant they've been in this tournament. So if you ask me to pick a team that is most likely to win this World Cup, I can't look beyond India. But if you're going to ask me which is that one team that India would fear the most, I'm going a bit left field with my selection. I know everyone's picked Australia. I'm going to pick the New Zealand team. I think, as I mentioned earlier, because, you know, the final, you're playing either Australia, South Africa, you get a dry pitch in Ahmedabad where not 300, 280, 290 is the winning total. And I think in those conditions, both Australia no matter how good they've got a track record, both Australia and South Africa may struggle to beat an Indian team at the Narendra Modi Stadium. But at the Wankhede, with the conditions that we expect at the Wankhede, I think the only team that can run them close is New Zealand. So the only team I would fear, looking at where the matches are, looking at the man-to-man sort of a matchup with the spinners that New Zealand has and various other things, I think the only team that can run them close, but still India clear favourites for me.
It's a cool breeze here at the Wankhede, and it should be a cool breeze also on Wednesday evening. So, Suresh, Raina, India to win the tournament, and who is that one team we should fear?
I think everyone talk about Australia, New Zealand, but not forget South Africa. They have done really, really well. They have a very good fast bowler unit. They have a very good spin attack. And as you said, sir, about their batting, Klaasen, Markham, De Kock, Van Duce, they have Keshav Maharaj, then they have Ingidi, Rabada, Marco Jansen. And I think they have done really well in this World Cup. We never thought England team will be out of this semis. But look at South Africa. They came all the way. They've worked really hard. They have scored a lot of heavy runs. You never know. I think Calcutta, as Nikhil bhai mentioned, I know we are afraid against Australia. They have won the 5 times title. But I'm going to go with India. I think they know how to handle the pressure. Because when you qualified for the quarterfinal, semis or final, you need to handle the pressure well. I think that's what we have. Virat Kohli, who handled the pressure the best in the world. And we have the best captain, Rohit Sharma. And we have the guy who's sitting in the dressing room, Rahul Dravid. He always know how to handle the pressure. And I'm very impressed with Suresh. The way he's been dominating the batting lineup. He's been playing very, very freely. He's showing how to bat under pressure, and he's playing big shot. And I was very impressed the way Nikhil bhai said about KL Rahul wicket keeping. I think every tick we have done in the box, every bowler, every fielder. But Rohit Sharma, the fearless approach with Shubman Gill set the tone for us tomorrow.
Well, all of you seem to therefore believe across this round table that this is a World Cup that India should be winning. Remember, my hope, I can tell you, is for an India-South Africa final. I'll tell you why. Because I do believe in romance. And as a cricket romantic, I just think about India versus South Africa in the land of Gandhi, Gujarat. Mahatma up there, Nelson Mandela watching over. India to beat South Africa in the final. That's what I'm hoping for. And that's what I hope all of us are hoping for, to see our men in blue, this outstanding team, win the World Cup.